Hey everybody, and I am here today talking to Nicola Doherty, who is a life coach. She's a freedom coach. She's going to talk a bit more about that in a minute. And yeah, we're going to have a conversation today, which is really going to be about, I guess it's about the things that we wish we'd known when we first started our coaching businesses. So we're both coaches, but I think that all of what we're going to be talking about and touching on today is going to be relevant whatever sort of service-based business you might be thinking about starting or in the early days of. And hopefully, yeah, we're going to be able to give you some insights into our own experience that will help you think about, some of the things that maybe you need to consider in those sort of early kickoff days of your business. So without further ado, hello, Nicola. Welcome.
Hi, Sarah. Thank you so much. Really excited to be here. So thanks for the invite.
Great. It's great. It's great to have you here. And do you want to tell us a bit about you and your coaching business, how you got into coaching? Perhaps kick off with that. That would be great.
Yeah, sure. So I am a gay woman who loves to travel. Travel has always been such a massive thing for me. I had a 9-to-5 job when I was in 2005, so I was about 21. Did it for a year just to save money to travel, and hated it so much. Like, I hated the structure, I hate going into the office, and it just wasn't what I wanted to do with my life. So I come back from traveling and just decided that I'd never wanted a 9-to-5 job ever again, and I never have. So I worked as a research psychologist, so managing lots of different research projects for a number of years in academia and education for charities. Got my PhD in psychology, and all this time whilst I was working these amazing contracts, I could work them anywhere in the world. But what I realised is that I just wasn't feeling super fulfilled. Like, it was ticking off the invitation, have to be based somewhere in the world specifically. But what I found is that I was just fulfilling someone else's dream and not my own dream. And I just wanted to make more of an impact on women and help women to be more free. So over the years, I guess unofficially coached my friends and my friends of friends into, they would say, oh my God, your life's amazing, your lifestyle, you're so lucky. And I guess I just realised it wasn't luck. Like, I am privileged for sure. I've got a really privileged background, but none of it was luck. I had to really actively create that lifestyle for myself. So I had my own coaching and just realised how powerful it was. And that really was the turning point. I was like, I can actually combine all of this experience that I've got of working remotely, choosing my own time, choosing my own schedule, kind of unofficially coaching people without even really knowing that that's what I was doing.
Yeah.
With the qualification and certification of coaching behind me. And I've just found that that's like such a powerful combination, life experience plus the certification in coaching. So that's how I got into it.
Yeah, great. And I should have asked you this at the beginning, I suppose. I normally ask it at the beginning. So you're a gay woman.
Yeah.
Right? So you identify as a gay woman. Okay.
Yeah.
And so you use she, her pronouns, is that right?
Yeah, she, her.
Cool. Okay. Thank you. Right. So what I was curious about when you were talking there is about your own experience and how I guess that connects with, or does it connect with the kind of coaching and the almost like the promise that you have for your clients, the transformation that you want to support your clients with achieving. How does that kind of weave into your own experience?
Yeah, so my own experience and the transformation that I do promise is to help women to break free from the 9-to-5 so that they can live a life of freedom and feel. That changes for each individual woman, but for most of my clients, what that looks like is They can work from anywhere in the world. They can use their own gifts and their own talents to create and generate an income through that. And they can own their own time and schedule. So I think me having actually done those things for myself certainly helps me in terms of my marketing, how I position myself, and how to speak to my ideal client, that kind of first-hand experience. And also for my client to know that, like, this is so possible. Like, I have done it and you can do that. You can totally do that. And I guess, you know, the coaching space, it's a very open space, a non-directive space where I'm providing that time for someone to, they have the answers in their head, they know what they want to do, they need to speak it out and come up with their own answers. So I think that helps me in terms of, I've done that and I can be this model for what they can do. But in my coaching sessions, it's very much an open space for them to reflect on their life and for me to provide that.
Yeah. So then for your clients to support them in sort of believing that that's possible, that freedom and that different lifestyle, what sort of is it women you work with, or do you work with women and men, or primarily women?
I work with women, primarily women, mostly women, and that's just kind of how it organically happens. And
okay. And are they sort of like generally in a 9-to-5 type situation? Did you say that already? Something different, more freedom, more fulfillment, all of the things that you were looking for, all the things I was looking for, you know, before I started my coaching business.
Typically my clients are women in their 30s who have created amazing career for themselves, but they've got to the point where they're kind of realizing, like, is this really what I want to be doing for the rest of my life? And you know, I think now more than ever, with everything happening in the world right now, what I'm seeing in my clients is just the realization of, like, I have to change my life. I can't keep doing the same thing. Life's too short, and really, really taking ownership of the life and creating the future that they want to create. So that's really my vision of my clients.
I think I mean, you know, it's worth me saying, because we don't know when people are going to listen to this podcast episode, so we're in 2020, it's 1st of October when we're recording this, and we are in the coronavirus pandemic, global pandemic, and you know, both Nicola and I are in the UK, and we have just kind of begun our second round, I would describe it as, of you know, more strict lockdown measures in the UK. So this thing isn't going away anytime soon, and I think that, you know, what you're saying, I think is really, really interesting in terms of, it's like a lot of people, I think, have had that nudge for a long time, you know, like, oh, am I really doing what I want to be doing with my life, you know? And I think that can go on for years, you know, that kind of, like, you keep getting that reminder, or that sense of just really feeling a bit flat and unfulfilled. And this situation is like, shit, you know, this is the massive wake up call. If, you know, you can't get a bigger one in terms of that kind of, like, really recognizing and understanding and reflecting. It's been a time for great reflection, I think, for a lot of people in terms of what really matters, you know. And we see it all the time on social media, and people are talking about it a lot, but it's true, it's real, it's people's real experience right now, I think, is really seriously taking a look at this one life that we have. So I think it's a great opportunity, a great time to start thinking about that for our futures, if we're not already there, doing that thing that lights us up and gives us meaning and purpose, you know. Is that, how would you sort of, is your purpose, is that something that you've, or your mission or your vision, is that something that you've kind of got clarified?
Yeah, my mission is
your thoughts on that?
Is to help put money into the hands of women and people who are going to do good with it.
Yeah.
and to really just, especially women, I think we've got so many expectations on us, societal expectations, that we should be this, we should be that, we should have a family, we should have a good job, we should bring in money. And it's kind of, I want to break, my mission is just to help women to break free from those expectations. Like, those are expectations that other people put on us, and strip all that away. And who are you, and what do you want from your life? And that's where I think so many, you know, I've done that, I can see my friends have done that, and other people. The society we're in shapes us, but really, like, looking back and figuring out who we are is my mission, to help other women to do the same. And it's took a lot of work for me to get to, you know, it's an evolving process, but it's a lot of work for me to feel that I know what my purpose is and where I'm at.
Yeah, it carries on as well, doesn't it? I think, like you say, evolving and expanding. So I think we're now going to like dig into those sort of 7 areas that we've identified that we feel are really important. They're really important to us, for us to get clear and to do work around, really. And I think some of them, for me, I kind of like got quite a way down the road in my business before I sort of realized that it would have been good to have done some of these things earlier. So it's one of the reasons I think we want to share them with anyone listening today who's kind of in the early stages of their business. So the first thing that I've got on our 7 things is exactly what you were talking about a minute ago, Nicola, which is that getting clear on your purpose or your mission, or vision, whatever language kind of works for you. And I've made a previous podcast episode all around finding your purpose. Actually, I can't remember what number it is, but I'll put the link in the show notes to this episode. And for me, I think when I was really exploring what it was that I wanted to, the difference I want to make, you know, that's what my purpose feels like for me. And what is really fresh in my mind about purpose is, and this whole situation that we're in now in this global pandemic, is something that I heard just a couple of days ago, which was secondhand, but, you know, trusted source. And it was something that Deepak Chopra had said in one of his talks, which was, you know, about how challenging this time is for everybody, and how, you know, how much fear there is, how much anxiety there is, how it's a struggle maybe sometimes to stay aligned, you know, with the work that we might want to do, the difference we might want to be making, you know, our connections with our families, our relationships with our communities, and all those sorts of things. And what he said, his phrase was, find refuge in your purpose. And I was just like, wow, that's like so powerful, because, you know, when I come back to my purpose, when I get like, I'm not sure what I want to do in my business, I'm not sure how I'm going to create, you know, the new service offer, or what content I want to write even, or videos I want to make, or personal development tools that I think are going to be helpful for people. When I've got that really strong purpose to come back to, it's like an anchor, you know, and it really keeps me on the path, you know, it keeps me connected to the difference that I know I'm making, you know, to my clients, to my community, and the ripple effect, you know, that is having. And it's so empowering, I think, and very important. So for me, purpose is kind of like everything in a way. Without that, I think we're sort of floundering a bit. You know, we know that, and I know in the early days in my business, you know, it was, yeah, I was like coaching people and supporting them, and I could see that it was helpful to have those conversations and get that support. But the difference in terms of how I can now focus all of my coaching skills and experience and knowledge and life experience and those things that you talked about earlier, that is really directly aligned to my purpose just makes all the difference, and my purpose is about, and I'm not going to be able to say this in one succinct sentence, but it's about creating a platform for queer women leaders and change makers and women that want to make a difference in the world, a positive difference in the world, that is heart-led. And helping them to get their services, their gifts, their talents out into the world, and also creating more visibility for LGBTQ plus women in business, and more equality. But it's taken me a while to get to this point in terms of feeling the power of it and how it almost drives everything that I do. So for me, it's like, as you can tell, it's really, really important. And the way that I've looked at it and where I'm at with it at the moment and the way that I work with my clients is your purpose is almost like the foundation elements. If you're struggling with finding it, is look at your values, look at the things that your core values, the things that really matter to you, that are really important. Look at your life experience, which you've talked about, the lessons, the struggles that you've experienced that are, really unique to you. And then your strengths, your talents, and when you mix all that together, it's unique. Only you have that, only I have my unique values, strengths, and life experience. No one else has it. And I think that is when you can start to see how, we're not like, you and I are both coaches, but what we offer is so different because we are not like each other. And I think that's the other thing that I find really interesting about coaching schools and stuff. So we both did our training at the same coaching school, which is Animas. Shout out to Animas coaches listening. And it's a great program. I thought it was amazing tutors and all of those things. But one of the reasons I chose them actually was because I believe that the way that and it was borne out, the way that their philosophy is about not creating cookie cutter style coaches. You are unique. I didn't really get it until later, because you do sort of potentially come out and you've learned all the models, you've learned all the approaches, you've learned, it does feel a bit like we're all on this same sort of conveyor belt a little bit, until you start learning that you have your unique purpose, your unique life experience and all of that stuff. I'm going off on one a bit, but this, to me, it's like at the heart of what makes you unique and your service offer unique, and to not draw on that when you're creating, the transformation, thinking about the transformation you want to create for the people that you work with is such a waste. I think we need to really know and understand that uniqueness about us. So that was me getting a bit like, woo, carried away.
Oh, you're excited about it, and you're so right. Like, our purpose underpins every single thing that we do in our personal life in terms of values, but in our business it underpins our marketing. Like, we need to know what our purpose is to know who are we marketing to, who is our ideal client, what do we want to say to this ideal client. And that's something I learned luckily early on, because I attended a coaching group coaching sessions with this amazing woman, and she really drilled this into me right from the get-go. So I feel lucky in that respect. I mean, obviously it's ongoing, and we evolve and change, and maybe our purpose and what we offer does as well. But I think you've hit the nail on the head, and I love that quote that you shared. Deepak,
find refuge. So we can find refuge in our purpose at this time where it can feel like you get, and I feel it sometimes. I feel like I'm cast adrift from it. And just reminding myself again, I've got it written all over the bloody place in my flat. um,
You know, I as well.
yeah, on post-it notes, on my whiteboard, why am I here? What the hell am I doing all this for?
And
'Cause
I think it helps. I
Sorry.
think it helps to get over ourselves sometimes. Like sometimes if I have a fear of being visible or a fear of, oh, what's someone going to think
Yeah,
when they read this, having my purpose and my ideal client
yeah.
at the very forefront, like I am doing this for these women, it really helps me to go for myself and just
Oh my
do it.
God, yes. Is that on the list? I don't think it's clarity. Yeah, number 8. It's not about you. It's
Yeah.
not about me. It's not about you. It's about those women, in our case, that we're here to support and, give guidance to and be there for, so that they help them on their journey to do the amazing things that they're here to do in the world. I think that's so powerful. You're right. Because when you're like crapping yourself because you don't want to make that live or whatever it is that, whatever it is that feels like scary, to make yourself really visible, when it's like, yeah, but if I don't do that, I'm not going to help, I'm not going to help the people I'm here to help. They're waiting, they're ready, they're there for us, they need what we have. Yeah, that's a conversation that I have quite often.
Yeah, I have to keep reminding myself. It's an evolving process, and obviously, but
Yeah,
I think, keep bringing yourself back to that purpose is just integral to every single thing that you do in business.
yeah. So number 2, if we're lucky, these might all just nicely segue into each other. So number 2 is about, and I think I describe it as the promise, or the transformation. So one of the ways that one of the coaches that I work with, she talked quite simply, but I found it quite powerful, about the problem and the promise. I find it really easy to remember as well, which helps. It's simple. What's the problem that you're trying to solve for your clients? And then what's the promise, as in what are you promising to give them in terms of their transformation, and being really clear about that. And again, it's a bit like you said a minute ago, it's really helps your clients to understand, and connect with what it is that they're looking for. And sometimes I'm not even sure, as coaching, clients or people that are looking for coaching support, they're not always entirely sure what outcome they're looking for. And I think it can really help with like messaging, our messaging in terms of posts, blogs, videos, whatever it might be, that we can make that transformation, really bring it to life for them, so that they can almost see, God, yeah, that is it. That is what I'm looking for, and it kind of like gets even. And I love the fact that through our writing, whether that's, blogs and or posts on social media or videos, we're already helping people to get unstuck, because there's, we can potentially provide them with insights or questions or reflections that is going to, oh yeah, that's it. It kind of like helps them to move along the process of their journey, their transformation, before we've even got them, in front of us in a coaching situation. So again, I think that's really, again, kind of connects with that being visible and why it matters. All the time we're not helping people with even if it's just one person that sees a post on social media and goes, oh, yeah, you get me, you understand, I'm not alone, or whatever those sort of thoughts that they might have. I think it's like worth it, isn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah, what I've been taught, and kind of how I think of transformation is like, I help X to do Y so that they can Z. So mine would be, I help women to break free from the 9 to 5 so that they can work from anywhere, they can earn their own time and schedule, so that they can use their gifts. But I think really breaking it down like that really, really helped me be able to get that clear in my mind, and then get it clear out there.
Yeah, no, that's a really nice model. You call it a model? It's a model, I guess, isn't it? Like,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. And that's something that anyone that's listening that's not done that work around, you know, what is the transformation that they facilitate.
I think it's really nice, it's simple, it breaks it down and just makes you think about it. And I've played around with the X's, the Y's and Z's quite a lot.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think we all do that. I certainly have done it myself in terms of that. Yeah, exploring it, and I think that's okay, isn't it? Because we're just like
Yeah.
exploring, you know, and actually sort of questioning ourselves and getting clarity. It's part of our own process as well to get that real clarity around what it is that we're doing and how we're doing it.
Yeah.
Definitely. So the third thing is not waiting until you've got everything in place. So until you've done all the things to get your business exactly perfectly how you want it before you start supporting and helping and working with clients, right? So things like websites, business cards, all your social media perfect, photographs. I'm trying to think of all the things, some of the things. So website definitely was one for me. I was like, well, I can't really start coaching properly, you know, until I've got my website finished. And that took like months because I was procrastinating on it because I was scared to actually go out there and start coaching and charging for my services. Yeah, all of that stuff that ultimately it's just a bullshit story, isn't it?
It is, but I bought into it. I completely bought into it and then got my first paid client without having a website. So yeah, you don't need all that.
Yeah. No, and I think the other thing I think that I found, it makes me laugh now when I look back, you know, on the website thing. The website was my thing, but I think photos can be another thing. I've heard people sort of saying, you know, until they've got the proper photos that they can use, or, you know. Yeah, so with my website, I think the funny thing when I look back now is that I spent all this time getting it perfect, if you like, in my eyes. And it was probably like how I wanted it, maybe for a maximum of 3 months. And then in 3 months later, I was sort of looking back at the content thinking, oh no, I want to change that. I want to, you know, I want to make it less wordy or more wordy, or, you know, just remove that content because it feels too, because my original website had a lot of content on it. And now it's a lot more punchy and focused, you know. So it just makes me sort of smile to myself to think we spend all this time using the website almost like as an excuse not to get out there. And then it's only, you know, you want to hone it and change it, and it evolves with you, you know, it doesn't stay the same. So it's just one, I think, to really be mindful of that, really look at what is it actually that's stopping you from going out and doing your thing. And it's it's not the website, you know, or the business card. I mean, business cards, does anyone even have business cards these days?
I don't, do you?
No. But it is another thing that I've heard people talk about, you know, in terms of, well, when I've got my business card and my website and have my professional photos done, then I'll really get out there properly and I'll be really properly visible. And I get it, you know, it's again, it's that sort of fear showing up of, I think also it's like pressing the button. So it's that first, I was talking to a client fairly recently who's a coach. She's, and again, I think with her was what was also interesting. I think she finishes her training this month. And she was like, I can't start, even, you know, having practice clients. She's obviously doing coach practices within her cohort in the training school that she's training with. But to have real people, as it were.
Yeah.
She's like, until I've finished the training. And I'm like, you're absolutely you know, got so much that you can give right now. You don't need to wait. You know, who says you need to wait until you finish the training? There's no law, there's no rules, there's no nothing. You know, you can help people right now. And again, that's that thing about, you know, that fear of getting started and showing up and saying, well, I'm really doing it. Am I a real I'm not a real coach until I've got my diploma. And that's just not true.
Yeah.
And I think the other thing with her was getting that first social media post written.
Yeah.
I think she's probably written it, but pressing the button, pressing the kind of post now thing, it's like really like stuck on the starting line, you know, because I think it represents, and it does, in some ways it does represent a lot, I suppose, but in other ways it's like, no, I remember someone saying it'll be tomorrow's chip paper or whatever, your post. Like, no one really cares that much about your post, you know what I mean? It's like, just comes like this massive thing in your head, and it's like, people are like, all right, okay.
It feels so massive.
You know,
yeah, other people have got bigger things going on in their life, whether you've put a typo in there or whether you've touched, whether something you said has touched them or it hasn't. Like, people really do. But taking that first leap, it does become easier after you've took that first leap. But taking that first leap is difficult.
But it's scary, admittedly. And it's it, and I guess maybe that's another thing maybe to sort of weave in here. It's like knowing that that's okay to feel a bit afraid, knowing that it's okay to kind of like think, oh, you know, what are people going to think of this post? Are they going to judge it? Am I going to get any likes? All of that stuff, you know, we hear it all the time. It's not about likes. It's not about likes. But, you know, I still do things that I think, oh, that didn't get very much engagement. We're human.
Yeah.
And it's really hard to let go of all of that need for validation.
Yeah,
that's what it is. It's a need, and you know, because we're still struggling with that "am I good enough" thing, and we're doing all the work. You know, so much work on that. But you know, I think it's okay also to accept that that is part of the human experience. You know, and you're going to feel it and embrace it and kind of say F it, you know.
Yeah, and then if you keep your ideal client in mind, that will help you to move past it and just know that it's like a temporary feeling of discomfort that's for like a wide good. And that's what helps me. And, you know, I feel like that all the time still, and just have to keep that with the purpose of my ideal client.
Yeah. And that temporary feeling of discomfort, that when you said that, it made me think about the feeling also. I'm making it sound really, really good here. But you know, when you post something and you go, oh, shit, I found that almost more terrifying, like waiting to kind of see what was going to happen. That sort of like, it's almost like, that, I don't know, that kind of quite scary feeling when you put it out there. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, and I think that's probably waiting for the response or the reaction from other people, that judgment that we fear. Ultimately, again, you know, like you're saying, you know, it doesn't matter. What matters is one person, 2 people, 10 people, 100 people look at it, read it, and it gives them something that day that they really need, you know.
It does.
So the next one is about money.
This is a big topic.
It's a big topic, yes. Pricing, packages, all that kind of stuff. And I think for me, I guess I spent a lot of energy and time worrying, thinking about this, trying to work out how much to charge for my services, wondering if anyone would pay for it, comparing myself to other coaches who are completely different to me, but, you know, still comparing. doing all of the things that I think are probably quite common, especially, you know, in the early days. And I guess what I think now, I suppose there's a couple of principles, which is, I think would be great for you to talk about this, Nicola, in a minute as well, is like really understand, you know, your relationship with money, understand it, understand where your blocks are, and receiving, you know, your kind of like your sense of self-worth and, you know, being value and the value that you're providing, and, you know, being open to receiving money as well. And I think that's quite an energetic thing to really understand and practice. And it's, I don't know anybody that hasn't struggled with this particular thing, and who maybe is still struggling. And every time I sort of think about putting my prices up, it comes up. Something comes up around the money stories. And I think, yeah, there's work to do. I think the other thing that would be kind of like key in this sort of part, this kind of aspect of looking at your pricing and your packaging and stuff, is this thing about charging by the hour. So, you know, the coaching that we do with our clients, in my view, the way that I work with my clients is I have a relationship with them, you know, my one-to-one clients. So it's not about 6 hours of coaching or 12 hours of coaching. It's about, I work with them for 3 months, 6 months, longer. And during that time, I'm, you know, I have a relationship with them, I support them, and they're investing, and I'm investing in that relationship. So and also, you know, just creating packages that aren't based on single sessions, small amount of sessions, all that kind of stuff, because, you know, ultimately what it's about for me and my clients is the transformation, is actually, you know, the putting the investment and the time in and the commitment as well from them to that transformation that they're seeking. And doing one-off single sessions or any sort of, you know, any sort of mix of stuff like that is almost undermining the coaching and the coaching process and what can be achieved. And it's going to be a disappointment, I think. But it's taken me quite a while, or it took me quite a while to get to that place where I felt confident enough to move away from those. Because I think there still are a lot of people in the coaching space that do offer single sessions or coaching by the hour, you know, that kind of model, I suppose. And, you know, you've got that whole kind of fear, I suppose, as well, of people looking at, well, why are you doing it this way and charging X, Y, and Z and all of that stuff. So it's having real, I think it's conviction and certainty in what you do and the difference that you make, and that you know, at the end of the day, although as coaches, we're not, our clients have all the wisdom and have all the answers and have all of the capability and the resourcefulness within them to create the change that they're seeking. We are the experts in that we create and facilitate the environment within which they do that. So that said, we know how to create the right environment, i.e., the types of packages, the types of support and all of that stuff that is going to enable them to do that. And for me, single sessions or short, paid by the hour type approaches and the relationship that then kind of elicits is not the best way to make that happen.
Yeah.
That's quite interesting, because I wasn't expecting to talk about why I do what I do in the way I do it, but there you go. That's what came out.
I just think it's.
What are your thoughts on that?
Yeah, really, really well aligned with yours actually. So I very early on into, so I've done different range of different training, loads of invisible stuff such as reading books, and then I actually had group coaching with this amazing woman who was like, right, we really need to nail your package. And I offer a 3-month package. That's how it is now. Maybe it will change in the future, but I offer a 3-month package, and I'm all in with my clients. And just as you said, it's all about the relationship. So we do spend time together on Zoom, on Skype, but then that relationship and that transformation is happening offline in their lives. And you can't put a price on that. In fact, like the transformation that we can give to these wonderful women that we work with, it's invaluable. You can't actually put a price on that. So I found that hard sometimes to put a value to it, because I just think it can be so powerful, but definitely manage to get away from the hourly mindset, because they're not just paying for the hour, they're paying for all the experience, the space, the time, the relationship. But I had to do quite a bit of money mindset work, and I'm still doing it now. Like, it's like you said, it's ongoing. But the first client who wanted to pay me, I was almost like repelling the money. Like, oh no, like it's all right. And the thing is, because I know you do, like your passion
pounds,
I know your passion shines through like mine, but because it's so enjoyable, like it's so enjoyable to work with amazing women and see transformations. And kind of the first time someone wanted to pay me, it was like, oh no. And then, but now I've got more comfortable and I know what my purpose is, and know what the transformation is. I think that's how everything we've talked about so far, just it all links in. It's also important.
And also, I think something you said a minute ago made me think about this too. This is what we're also bringing into the space with our clients is a lifetime of, experience, that unique life experience that we have, all of our, investment in our own development and training and, expertise that we have built up. We're bringing all of that, aren't we, into, and more. If I thought about it more, I could think of more. But all that we're bringing into that space with that client is what they're getting. It's not just a transactional, experience. So
it's an investment of energy.
Also, the other thing that's just popped into my head about this sort of topic is about, if we're not able to create sustainable businesses, by actually getting paid for what we do, then we're going to last, and we're going to be, we're not going to be able to do this work, this really powerful work that we do. So, we've got to sort of like have that energy exchange,
Absolutely.
Mine
was kind of the whole my money mindset was based on the harder you work, the more money you get. But then when you get money, kind of like, oh, like, don't spend it, like, no, like, have it and don't enjoy it. And I guess that goes back through generations of like my parents, how my parents, grandparents have taught, and their relationship with money. But I guess that's the main one that I've kind of worked through. But through working with other women, it can be the complete opposite end of the spectrum. It can be, have to spend it now because money, comes and goes. I might not have it tomorrow, so spend. So I think everyone's different, and everyone's money stories and relationship with money is so different. And I just find, like, I've actually got, I love journaling. I've actually got 6 journals every morning. I just spend 5 minutes in each, and one of them's on money, just because things come up just on a day-to-day basis. And I just like to just try and keep track of my relationship so I can learn more about that. I think that's quite an interesting thing to do.
6 journals.
I love my journals. I mean, it's excessive, especially because I
love journaling. I haven't got 6 on the go. I've got 2 on the go, I think, at the moment. So one's dedicated to your sort of money mindset.
Yeah, one dedicated money
Mm,
mindset.
interesting.
Yeah, which I kind of
Is
record.
there what your, is there any sort of specific question you're asking yourself, or like reflection that you're doing on a daily basis, or is it just what comes?
It's Yeah, it's like a blank page each day, but typically the type of things that come up is my thoughts behind spending money. So if I am planning to spend money on something, why have I or why haven't I? So
Mm,
kind of looking at the reasons why I'm buying things and the reasons why I'm not buying things and how that fits in with my values.
mm,
So what I tend to spend money on is travel and things. A lot, obviously not right at this moment with COVID, but in general, that's where my money goes. And I see like other things. I'm not particularly materialistic, so if I buy something, material, I look at, oh, is this all right? Like, does this fit in with my values? And there's a bit of judgment that comes up sometimes for myself. So it's just acknowledging that and being like, it's totally fine. I can buy what I want, but it comes up.
mm. Yeah, interesting. I like that.
Yeah.
Thank you. So I'm thinking about the other things on our list, actually. I'm talking about money, and what is coming up for me is investing, investing in our businesses and investing in ourselves. And I think they were two of the other points that we've sort of highlighted. So maybe take the investing in our business maybe next.
Yeah.
And I think this is one that I am still in a way getting used to. And I've been thinking about it quite a bit lately, in terms of the fact that because I spent 30 years in employment,
Mm-hmm.
um, the thought of spending money on my business, kind of, it didn't really, I kind of was like a bit like, oh, I don't know if I want to do that. It's kind of like there was quite a lot of resistance to doing that, actually investing in my business, and sort of that, creating that, that again, that sort of flow, that energy, of money going in and money going away, money going out and money coming into me, that kind of like, and that just being, because I think, in employment, I was just getting money. It was just sort of landing in my bank account, and I never really invested financially. Obviously, I invested a lot of myself in my corporate career, but not in a kind of money exchange way. So I've been thinking lately about, I wonder if that's created or did create some of that resistance, that not really knowing what it feels like, to do it, and learning, and I guess it's sort of like the professional development type stuff, like, investing in coaches, investing in business development programs, thousands of pounds basically. And now I'm kind of like, it's part of what I do, and I get, I'm feeling excited actually thinking about it. I'm excited. I think I'm excited because I feel good about doing it. Whereas when I first started, I was like, oh, I've got to spend all that money on a coach, or, whatever. It just felt a bit like, oh, it's just a bit, it felt almost like reckless or dangerous, or should I be doing this because, maybe I won't earn the money back, and all that stuff. And whereas now I'm like, I really believe, my mindset's really changed actually, because I really believe that it's all that I'm investing sensibly, obviously, in amazing stuff, that all of that is going to enable my business to be, the very best it can be. And for me to, be able to show up in it in a way that does it justice almost, if that makes sense. Rather than holding back, and not wanting to release, that investment, put that, it's almost like believing in my business as well enough, and believing in myself enough to want to create the best environment for it to thrive. And that means, you know, getting support from people that are way ahead of me in terms of what I want to do, and they're already doing it, and you know, they're the sorts of people that I'm inspired by, and doing their programs, if it feels like a good fit for what I'm looking for. So there's that kind of investment, the sort of coaching, business development, group programs, all that kind of stuff from a coaching perspective, I suppose. And then the other thing I think that I've been doing more recently is things like ads. Facebook ads. There's so much to learn there. I'm like, I love it. But I'm like, what's a lead magnet and a lead? Like, luckily I've got a business coach at the moment who's brilliant, and I'm learning loads from her. But yeah, it's because like Facebook ads, you know, love them or hate them, whatever, think they're a good idea or not. Or for you or not for you. I fiddled around, I played with Facebook ads probably about a year ago. Started, you know, and I have been sort of like trying a few things on my own with pretty crap success, really. I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't waste like loads of money, but you know, I wasted a bit of money basically fiddling around with it. And then, you know, like now I've got a new ad that's running at the moment, which is for a quiz that I've created. Actually, I've got a quiz, everybody. It's called What's Your Queerpreneur Communication Style? I'll put a link in the show notes. And it's going really well. You know, I think it's, I've got like the actual ad copy, if you like. So the image is a picture, and it's got Bet Porter from The L Word on it, Anne Lister from Gentleman Jack, Alice from The L Word.
I've seen it on Facebook.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
And, I think you've done it. Have you done it?
Yeah, I did.
Who's the fourth person? Oh, and Eve Polastri from Killing Eve, right? And I've created these characters, you know, and I think for gay women, you know, they're going to go, oh, it's a load of lesbians on that picture. I'm imagining, you know, and it's I've learned kind of from my business coach, who is brilliant at ads, brilliant at creating quizzes that, you know, it's a quiz, but it means something, there's value in it. It's not just fun, and fun quizzes are okay. But, you know, and I've learned so much about how to create something that is going to give people value, and, you know, because I think it's important, and that hopefully is going to start that relationship with, you know, potential women that want to be in my community. So what I was doing in the past with Facebook ads was so far away from that, you know, so far away from giving me any value. And anybody that saw my ad, yeah, they would have got, you know, a PDF that's useful. I wouldn't say that it was, you know, I did anything that was rubbish, but I didn't know how even to kind of get it in front of the right people. So I've learned so much, you know, about, and that's, but I've needed to kind of invest something in that. But I'm doing it in a way that feels like it's really working for me and for the people on the receiving end of it. So again, that was something that I in the past I thought, oh, I'll just do it myself. I don't need to spend money, you know, getting someone to help me with this. Because you can get people that, you know, all they do is Facebook ads, and they support you with that, right?
Yeah.
Now I can do it myself, you know, and a bit like the business coach, or I can just learn, you know, I'll just watch videos, I'll read books, it'll take you probably quite a long time. And, you know, all of that stuff. It's a hard slog on your own, isn't it? And I think the other thing I want to say about investing in your business is around things like mastermind groups. And, you know, like I've just recently joined a mastermind group with some other female entrepreneurs, you know, and we're like set up almost like a learning set type environment where we take our challenges, and we're all in different places with our businesses. One of them's got about 4 businesses, you know, that she's been running for about 10 years. And we're able to kind of support each other and like, offer that kind of experience as well. And that support of like, when none of your friends are entrepreneurs or run their own businesses and they're like, oh yeah, that sounds interesting or whatever. And they don't really get what it's like when you're like, oh God, I don't know what's going on, and it's sort of like really lovely to have other women that know what it's like to be on your own, really running some sort of business enterprise, whatever it might be. So that's been another thing that doesn't cost anything, but a really, really important part of the support that I sort of have for me and my business, I guess. So
yeah, I think what you've just said about you and your business is really important, because there's such a fine line for me between like, I am my business, it's not a business of lots of people, it is me.
yeah.
And investing time and energy and money into both myself and the business. Like you're further along, you've been coaching for longer in your business. Like I've not done Facebook ads, but just to say, your marketing targeting of the Facebook ads is spot on, because I don't think I follow you on Facebook. I do on Instagram, and I've seen the ads, so obviously they're targeted like the right person. Yeah. So, but investing in coaching has just been massive for me and my business. So I've got an amazing coach who I've had for only a couple of months now, but she does one-on-one and combines it with group coaching. And for me, that is such a great balance of having someone dedicated looking in on the business, what's working, what are my blockers, what am I not trying, what should I try, and then the power of women, sisterhood, women getting together who are creating their own business, they're in a similar boat, and you can just share ideas, share passions and pains and everything. And to me, I think that investment it's the best investment I've made so far, for sure.
Yeah, brilliant. Yeah. You're giving it, it deserves the best, your business. We have spent a long time thinking about, who we want to serve, how we want to serve it, all the transformation we want to create and all of that stuff. It deserves the support, as, whatever we can give it in terms of making sure that it does what we want it to do, yeah. Cool. So investing in our own self-care.
I actually think I'm really good at this. I think it comes with not having a 9 to 5 for so long and managing my own time schedule. But an ex of mine called me the queen of perpetual indulgence, because I was just on spas, having Reiki treatment, having sound baths, and I feel like the balance isn't always there. But I feel like it's so essential to fill your own cup up before you can give to someone else, like without a doubt. And I've just naturally been in a position where I've been lucky I've created that for myself. But I know that women I've worked with have found it hard to make that time and to look after themselves.
Yeah. I think it's something I've learned to do as well. It's important to have that downtime and have those that sort of discipline in a way, isn't it? And those boundaries with yourself. But I think I've learned probably really, I've always sort of been into holistic health and well-being for a long time, back when I was in my corporate career as well. But I think I didn't really make the time for it then. And I think working for myself and being really fortunate to have connections with a lot of well-being specialists, a lot of well-being practitioners, and they're just like doing amazing classes all the time. Or like you mentioned, sound baths. One of my really good friends is a sound therapist, and she does sound healing, which I love. I also do Reiki myself, so I can give myself Reiki, and I'm connected with quite a lot of yoga teachers and things like that. But I've created those connections because, I want to be able to be part of that community, I guess. And they're all business owners, you know, but we share, you know, we share that energy as well. I think there's something to be said for that. So I've learned to bring those things into my life, and I've certainly learned, you know, it's like, it's take your own medicine as well a bit, isn't it? You know, I'm sitting with my clients and they're like struggling with anxiety, or they're struggling with overwhelm, or they're struggling with you know, the fear of, you know, all some of the things we talked about earlier in their businesses. You know, are they going to be successful? Are they going to fail? All of that stuff that comes up, you know. And for me, it's like we have to prioritize our own well-being, balance, nurturing and nourishing ourselves so that we can show up in the very best way, you know. And drawing on all the tools that we already know, and all the things that are out there to sort of learn as well, and develop and try out and experiment with. I mean, yeah, I think the most recent thing I've probably done that's, you know, it's a couple of things actually. I've done one of them's chakra healing. So really looking at chakra energy alignment and where the imbalances might be and how they might show up. So I did like a group program with a small group of women, and that was amazing, really interesting. And now I'm like, I'm taking care of my root chakra. You know, but that's the food you eat, the you know, the grounding in nature, all of that stuff. It's like feeding the root chakra and like really connecting with the vibration of nature and all of that stuff, which I would sort of do and think, oh, this feels good, but know that deeper knowing of why. For me, I really love that, you know, and I can kind of build on it. And the other thing is movement. So I've been doing 5 rhythms for a while, a couple of years now, but I know when I discovered that, so I don't know if you know about 5 rhythms.
No, tell me.
It's like a free dance. So it's a dance, it's a movement to music. I won't go into all the ins and the outs of it, but it's based on 5 different rhythms of music. So you might get like really crazy jazz, and it kind of goes through a sequence basically, and it ends in stillness. And up the front end, you've sort of got, I can't remember all the different names, but you've got lyrical and chaos. So chaos is something like prodigy, which is like fire starter. And you just like let all the shit out, basically, you know, and you can just, there's no choreography. You just do your thing, lie on the floor, run around, do handstands, whatever you feel like. And the end is like stillness. Like I said, it's got meditative and really grounding and bringing you back into, well, it's basically connecting with your body, but also really releasing and freeing stuff that, God, I feel like washed out, rinsed sometimes, because I just let go without involving the head, you know, at all, really. And sometimes the head just needs to be not involved, you know, because we just overthink stuff. If anything like me, anyway, I'm a big overthinker. Really powerful, you know, practice. But when I first went to 5 rhythms, I was like, what's this? Oh my God.
I can imagine. Yeah,
I was just like, oh. And then I'd be like this, you know. And then after a couple of weeks, I was like, wow. And it's just like, wow, it just like really, I love it. It's brilliant.
Oh, I'm so glad you told me about it, because I think moving and working emotions through the body is just so essential, and it's something I'm only really realising maybe the past few months, instead of kind of like switching my mind off or meditate, loads of things that are good as well, actually moving them through the body. So I'll check that out.
Check it out. And so taking care of ourselves, that's what we're talking about, isn't it? And how important it is. And like exactly what you said at the beginning, you know, about filling your own cup first. And we can't help anybody if we are feeling out of alignment or feeling exhausted or disconnected. you know, from ourselves, from our purpose, all of that good stuff. Yeah, the absolutely top priority.
Yeah, completely.
So what else have we got left on our list? I think there's only one thing, and that is, we sort of touched on it, which is about being visible.
Yeah, I think that's hardest for a lot of people from my experience.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, we have talked about it a bit, and I think it comes back to that thing for me, which is, if no one can see us, then, you know, and no one knows we're there and what we're offering, you know, it's like, it's almost like that. There's probably an analogy for it, and I don't know what the analogy might be, but it's almost like you're sort of sitting at your desk waiting for people to turn up.
Yeah.
You know, and you haven't even told them that you're there. You haven't even told them what you're doing. You haven't said hello. They ain't gonna show up. And something else that I heard just this week again, actually, in terms of the confidence thing. So, you know, we talk about being confident, you know, having the confidence to put ourselves out there, to put the posts out there, to make videos. I mean, I was like, I think I made videos like pre-recorded for ages. Like, I wouldn't go live. I was like, I can't go live. I'm just going to make videos. And, you know, it'd be 20 takes of a bloody video, you know, before I was like, oh, that's good enough. Like, it's a 5-minute or whatever it was about some topic or another. And that was terrifying, making the bloody videos and putting them on social media. And then I started to go live, and now I don't really make video in that way anymore, you know, like, unless I was doing something a bit more that was a different medium, I suppose, a different forum or whatever that I was putting it on. But now for social media, I'll do lives, but it's quick, it's done, you know, and that the kind of like the joy of that, it's not like, oh well, it's kind of like if I've said something or forgotten my words or whatever, and just also knowing that people, it's more real, isn't it? If we mess it up, fluff it up, kind of like, yeah, forget what we're talking about, I think people like it, because it's like, you know, oh, again, it's like they're like me, they're normal, you know, you're kind of like human. So being able to be that vulnerable self, but it was a journey for me, especially with the video thing. I was like, God, going live, no.
I think it does feel, what you said, so much more authentic when you see just someone as they are in their car, you know, walking, whatever it is. It doesn't have to be this polished environment. It's just them as they are. What I did find when I, you know, and I've still got a journey to go with visibility, you know, I think I'm at the beginning, I've got to, you know, I'm working through that. But what I did find, especially at the very beginning, I was busy all the time. I was busy. And then my coach was like, right, tell me, what actions are you doing that are visible and what actions are you doing that are invisible? And I found like I'm so good at doing invisible actions. So I'm busy reading the book, I'm busy doing this, I'm busy with my website, spreadsheets, but actual visible. And she really helped me to identify that. And I think once you're aware of that, so, you know, you have to spend time being visible for the reasons that you said. No one's going to see you.
I like that. I like that sort of thought, though, in terms of that reflection or that sort of approach to your day or your week. You know, how much time are you spending we're busy, very, very busy, because we can all make ourselves busy. Busy with things that are invisible and things that are visible. I like that. I've not really heard that kind of before. Would be a really interesting thing for people to maybe think about. You know, maybe set themselves targets. You know, I've set myself targets in before that I'll do, you know, one video every fortnight. Start with that and see how that felt, you know, and then it was like one live a week, you know, and having that sort of sense of starting to deliver content in different ways, really. Cool. So that was 7 things. So I'm just going to wrap up with a couple of questions for you.
Yeah. Okay, go for it.
So in terms of your business, your journey so far with your coaching work and all of those things, you know, what have you found surprising? What's sort of been surprising for you?
I think how I thought at the very beginning that I knew my ideal client, but I actually didn't. And I think what's been surprising is how much work I've had to do to like really like intimately get to know my ideal client. Like I thought at the start, right, she's a woman, she wants to live this free life, great. But actually the most surprising thing is how everything kind of stems from that, and how like my own coach has made me ask me to do so much work on that. And I just think it's the most valuable piece of work that I have done, because everything does stem from really knowing her intimately, my ideal client intimately.
Yeah, because it feeds all of your messaging, doesn't it? You know, you're talking to her, you're talking to that woman. When you're writing your content or making your videos or whatever. Yeah, so yeah, to know how she's experiencing life, I guess, as well, means that you're going to connect and engage with her. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, definitely. And what gives you most joy and excitement about what you do?
Just these amazing women that I work with, like the transformation of seeing someone, you know, it's always been on the screen for me. So just seeing someone pop up on my screen and they're kind of like initial, you know, the initial time we have together, and they seem a little bit unsure about what they want. And then how they go from that to, I mean, the visualization and the visions that I do with them, it's in them, they know. But as soon as they manage to kind of map that out and really in detail explain and describe the senses, the sounds, the taste, what it looks like, their future, and then when they step into that, it's just amazing. It makes me feel really good for them and also for me to have been part of that journey.
Yeah, to be a witness to it is like such an honor as well, isn't it?
It really is, because someone's given you their time, their energy, their space, their money, and trusting you to listen to them and be there.
Yeah, wonderful. And what about your own role models, or who inspires you? Who do you kind of like read, follow, listen to?
I guess three people spring to mind. So Brené Brown, I just think she's just an incredible woman, and all the work that she's done on vulnerability, I just think's just amazing.
Yeah.
Are you Glennon Doyle, her book Untamed, again, really raw, really real. And I think things from both Brené and Glennon, like things that I've learned just apply to me, to my clients, to my business. Like they can just be, they're just so relatable and so real. And then my own coach, Megan Jo Wilson, is amazing. I only kind of found her a couple of months ago when I was actually recovering from surgery. Like I wasn't in a great place myself, and signed up to this program that she had, and it was the best thing that I've done. And she's just cultivated and created this amazing group of women that I'm so grateful to be part of. So she inspires me all the time. She's great. So she's like big inspiration.
If I think about my coaches, I'm like, they were all such massive inspiration.
And my first coach,
very inspirational, amazing people coaches are.
And just my first coach, Sabrina Jane Flatman, she was the person who got me interested in coaching, and the transformation that she had on me just made me realize how powerful it was. So
Oh, cool. I love it. So next steps for you and your business, what's kind of like the next 6 to 12 months got in store?
So I'm looking at planning in the very early stages of planning a group coaching course, so 6-month course, which involves individual one-to-one coaching, but also group coaching of women who want to leave the 9 to 5 and going through, so one-to-one where I provide that space, but also more mentoring in the group situation where we go through different modules step by step of how they can use those 6 months to create the life that they want. So yeah, it's in the really early stages, but I want to launch it next year.
Yeah, exciting.
Yeah, I feel really excited about it. It just feels right, and the timing of it for me, but also just in the universe feels right too. So yeah, lots of stuff to do to get that done, but everything's there, like in my mind. It's just kind of, yeah, getting it out there.
Brilliant. Yeah, exciting. So I'm just going to wrap up with the 6, 7. Started off as a list of 6, didn't it? And then it turned into a list of 7 because I counted 3 twice, Nicola.
Yeah.
So what we had was number 1, top of the leaderboard, getting clear on your purpose, your mission, your vision, why you're doing what you do. Number 2 is get really clear on the transformation that you are supporting your clients to achieve. Number 3 is don't wait until you've got everything perfect, the website, the business cards, the social media platforms, your professional photos, before you start helping people, serving people, coaching people, whatever it is that you do. Please don't wait until you've got all that stuff in place, because they need you now. You're ready to support them now. So please get out there and do it. Number 4, pricing and packages. Try and move away from that paid by the hour stuff. Really think about the transformation and price the transformation. And your money stories as well. Have a look at those. Number 5, investing in your business, and how to run a business. That's one thing we didn't actually talk about, but yeah, how to run a business, how to scale your business, all of those things, which usually, in my experience and what I know, you don't get taught a lot about on your professional training. So if you're trained to be a coach or PT or therapist. So there's a loads that I didn't know, and I'm still learning about actually making a successful business happen and creating it and making it sustainable. That was number 5, wasn't it? Number 6 is invest in your own self-care. Look after yourself, fill your cup first. And the final one was about visibility. So number 7, being visible, so people know that you exist and that how you can help them. So wonderful. Thank you, Nicola. How can people find you? Where's the best place to find you and get in touch with you?
Best place would be Instagram, so Nicola_Doherty_coaching.
Cool. Okay, I will put the link to get in touch with you in the show notes.
Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much for being here. I've really loved our conversation.
Oh, me too.